latest player. It's been a rash throughout the league. A lot of players. Baker Mayfield, the latest player to be added to the reserve COVID-19 list, Mort.
Yeah, and Garrett Gilbert, once Mr. Texas football in the state of Texas, is now starting for the Dallas Cowboys against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's their fourth starting quarterback in 5 games. It's only the Steelers. They have 30 sacks to lead the NFL. What we have is Ezekiel Elliott at running back. Elliott will test his hamstring in pregame, and they will make a decision on whether he goes or not. And Adam?
Mort, we mentioned quarterbacks on the COVID list. Matthew Stafford, just this morning, officially passed his latest COVID-19 test. He will be active and start for the Detroit Lions today against the Minnesota Vikings, despite the fact that he didn't go through the week of practice in person, went through Zoom meetings, flew to Minnesota separate from the team, stayed in a separate hotel, and now will rejoin the team to start this morning against the Minnesota Vikings team depleted at the defensive back position. Meanwhile, in Tampa tonight, Antonio Brown will play in his first game since September of last year. Tom Brady has taken him under his wing. He will be a part of the action tonight in the battle for first place in the NFC South in what is described as the most anticipated game in Tampa since 2007, the last time the Buccaneers went to the playoffs. They expect to have Chris Godwin back, they'll have Antonio back, so a full arsenal of weapons for the Buccaneers in a game against the Saints.
And part of that anticipation, Adam, is the return of Michael Thomas at receiver for the Saints. He led the NFL, set a record last year in reception. Hasn't played since week 1 against the Buccaneers when he had 3 catches for 17 yards before he hurt his ankle. Ankle and disciplinary reasons have gone around and around. This game right here, Buccaneers have 6-2. The Saints are 5-2. But with this win, if the Saints can win this game, they would have the edge in the NFC South on tiebreakers going forward if they end up in that situation, Sam.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, guys. As Mort just talked about, the situation with Michael Thomas has had a little drama to it. There's been the injuries, but there's also been the issues with coaches and teammates. Randy, I know you actually talked to Michael Thomas this week. What'd you come away from that conversation thinking?
Well, first of all, I want to thank my colleague Adam Schefter for connecting us together. But I wanted to talk to Michael Thomas because I've been in his shoes before, and he called me back. And the one thing he did tell me, Rex, is how embarrassed he was that this situation happened. He said that he had a setback, and he just talked about his passion just got in the way of getting in a fight with one of his teammates, and he's embarrassed about the situation. And I said, well, Mike, when are you going to come back? He said he didn't know. Luckily, just hearing about Mort talking about him coming back tonight where he could put everything behind him. But being able to be in his shoes before, Sam, I wanted to reach out to him because I know what he means to this organization. I know the records that he was able to break with Drew Brees, and we always say this, the grass is not always green on the other side. So I look for a guy like Michael Thomas tonight. He's been missed by his team since week 1, and I know the feeling is mutual.
What advice did you give him?
I think mine was just be able to ignore the noise. And I told him that a guy like Sean Payton, there's 32 coaches in the National Football League, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I said Sean Payton is one of the good guys of this National Football League, and I really mean that. I mean, there's some great coaches out there, but when you look at where Sean Payton has traveled and the success he's had, I know for a fact that he's on Michael Thomas's side, but Michael Thomas needs to return the favor.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those things where in the moment it feels frustrating and heavy and big, but you look back years later and you're like, why did I get so worked up about that? Let's flip it to the other side, though, and talk about Antonio Brown appearing today for the Buccaneers. At least that's what we expect. Matt, when you think about what he actually brings to a team offensively, what difference do you think it'll make for them today?
Well, I think he's going to bring some drama, number one. But if we put that aside for a second, he's so explosive. I mean, the guy hasn't played in a while, and I don't think it matters. And I think the number one thing that I see with this team is that Tom Brady wants to throw to him. And getting that trust of that quarterback. Go back to when he showed up in New England for that one game down in Miami. What did Tom do with the football? He chose to feed AB. He chose to make sure everyone saw, hey, no, listen, I can make this work. I'm going to spread the ball around when I need to, but I'm going to keep this guy happy. He can help us reach our goals. And it's going to be crowded. So it's going to be a complicated job for the quarterback. But if anybody can do it, I think that the Bucs believe, and I probably believe too, that Tom Brady would be the guy to keep everybody happy.
This has got to be a positional group buy-in because I don't know. I know, Randy, you're a receiver. These receivers, they get personal about those attempts. I mean, where's my share? Where do I get the ball? Receivers are emotional people, okay, because you are so dependent on someone delivering you the ball. So how many targets do I get? How many balls do I get? You're right. Tom is going to feed Antonio Brown because Tom knows the time of year, too. Week 9, Thanksgiving's coming up. He wants this offense to be seamless. And to do that, you got to get AB going. You got to get him feeling the process. I mean, they're friends. They have a great relationship. And that's something that's going to suppress the drama a little bit. But still, the whole positional group has to buy into this.
I think the best thing I heard, and I think, Teddy, maybe you said it, Randy, you might have said it as well, but all these receivers for Tampa, they were not practicing. They were hurt. Hey, I'm a little sore here. I'm a little sore there. All of a sudden, AB signs, nobody's on the injury report. Everybody's healthy.
Chris Godwin's still there a little bit, but they seem like they're coming.
It's pushing you. Like, are you hurt or are you injured, and do you know the difference?
That's the impact of a guy like Antonio Brown, regardless of what he's been through over the last couple of months. But we're going to talk about the guy, Antonio Brown, that's coming to the Tampa Bay Bucs to play Sunday Night Football. You're talking about Tom Brady being able to get him the ball. One time that they played one game in New England, and you hear me talk about this time in and time out about a dominant wide receiver being in a 3-by-1 formation. 3 receivers on one side, the single receiver being the dominant wide receiver on the other side. Tonight, maybe 15 to 25 snaps for Antonio Brown. One, to see where his game shape is. And we know Tom Brady wants to get him that ball, regardless of what they've been doing on the New Orleans Saints. They had things figured out for Tom Brady this first game. But this game, having all of his weapons, I look for a 3-by-1, AB backside. Look for that formation, Rex. I think
let me ask you real quick. In terms of targets, like I'm a receiver coming back. You're a receiver to a team like Antonio Brown. How many targets would you need to feel like you're getting a part of this offense within a game like this?
This is my
Is
first.
it 10? Is it 8?
No, if this is my first game coming back, I'm happy to be here, Sunday Night Football. You give me 5 to 6 targets and let me deal with catching the ball. Yeah. I think he'll be cool with that.
Okay, I'm sure they'll be cool with that, but I'm going to say this. I'm looking at it way different. Last time they had a great Mike Evans and Godwin, they got smoked week 1. By the way, this is the best receiver on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's no bigger game for the entire season than this one right here with Tampa Bay. The last time Antonio Brown went against this vaunted Saints defense, he put up only 185 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns and 14 catches.
Is that all?
Yeah, I think everybody's out of their mind if you don't think this dude is going to go off today. I think he is. I don't care. He hadn't played and all that. I get it, but you know, Randy, this dude's in shape. I know, but we're going to find out. And I saw it. I'm just telling you, there's no bigger game on the schedule. So, and the benefactor, look, Mike Evans is going to benefit from Antonio Brown.
Yes, he will.
So all these guys are. And so to me, oh my goodness. And Bruce Arians knows this cat. Yeah. So does Tom Brady. I think he's going to be a difference maker today.
It seems like a new problem for Tom Brady. He's not used to having so many big playmakers that you got to figure out who to get it to.
Randy Moss, Wes Welker,
Gronkowski. It's been a very long time. But when you look at what AB did with Tom Brady last year in that one game, 4 catches, only